guys, it's Chase with Star Tutors again, and as the title would suggest of this YouTube video, this is maybe the most important ACT teaching video that we've potentially ever made. And obviously, for those that have subscribed to our channel and have watched our videos before, we have created a number of those where we take the test in full time. Those have gotten a great response so far, but I really believe that what we're going to talk about today is potentially the most important, because it really helps with students who are currently seeing a plateau in their scores, or ones that can't figure out why their scores, they may have increased really quickly and now they're not increasing anymore and they can't figure out why. And so we're really going to talk about that and try to dive into what you can do to increase your score on the ACT on any section, even if you've already felt like you've hit the plateau. Okay, we've seen this before with students. We've worked with a lot of students in our programs. We've had a lot of great comments on our videos where we're taking the test in real time. So I really wanted to dive in how it is that we're able to achieve those high scores on those videos. And this is hopefully going to really break that down. So one of the questions we constantly get asked about, particularly about the ACT, less so about the SAT, is with regards to timing. Like, how can I improve my timing, all this stuff. Guys, one of the things that you want to think about is to make sure that you're not concerned with timing, at least initially. We get students that want to get a 34 or want to get a 30 or whatever the score is, or increase their score by 10 points. And I'll say something like, okay, well, you have to take this test untimed and see if you can get every question right. And they're like, well, man, every question right, that's a lot. And the first thing out of my mouth coming back to them is if you want to get a 34 on the English section, you got to get a lot of questions right? I know it's a lot to think about, but here's the deal, is if you take tests untimed, if you take sections of the ACT untimed, I guarantee the next time you take a timed test, your score will go up, guaranteed. Okay, but it can't just be an untimed test where you're thinking about timing. If it's a true untimed test where you go through it and you don't care if you take 3 times the normal time for the ACT English section and you get every single one of those questions right, because of the way this test is formatted and the way that it's repeatable, they're looking for the same types of concepts every time. If you spend a lot of time on one question, it's going to show up in the same way on the next exam that you take. And that's what we're going for here. So let me give you a perfect example of this. I'm going to look at the 74. So this is the ACT 74F. We're going to post the link. This is the one that the ACT has released to everyone. And I want to give you an example. So no matter how long it takes, I want you guys to sit down and not think about timing at all. And the way that we know this separates, the common student from a great student on this test is nobody wants to sit down and take a 2-hour grammar test. Nobody wants to do that where you're going back and you're looking for answers every time. If you don't know a question, you're like really thinking about it. But that's what it takes. And of course, getting a 36 on the ACT English section means you're in the top 0.5% of all students that take the exam. It means that you've outscored 1.759 million people, or whatever the number is, in order to get that score. So you got to think about that it takes this type of methodical, rule-based thinking in order to get these questions right. So I'm looking at the 74F English section, and I'm looking at questions specifically 16, 17, and 18, which are all punctuation rules. Specifically, most of them are comma rules. And I want you guys to I want to show you that when you see these 3 questions in a row, they're all very different. But if you don't know the rules, if you haven't taken a test untimed, it's very hard to get all 3 of these right. So let's look at number 16. Okay, number 16 says, and again, no timing. We're not thinking about this at all. It all began, as Pollack is likely to point out, with a single cork. So the first thing that we want to see is you'll look at the answer choices and you'll see kind of the operative thing that they're looking for here is these commas, right? This as Pollack likes to point out. And what we need to figure out is if this part of the sentence is what we call a modifying phrase, okay? And for those that haven't downloaded our StarU tutoring app, please download StarU. If you download it, all of this information is available for free. You just have to download StarU. Please do that. Pause the video, download it now. You're going to see the exact same rules I'm talking about. Please make sure that you have the test pulled up, you're looking at this, you're taking it slowly, and you have the StarU app downloaded, student account created, because the same stuff appears on the app. We have these exact same types of practice questions so that you can continue to go over them even after you're done taking the test. Okay, so it all began, if we have a modifying phrase, we want to take it out of the sentence and see if the sentence still makes sense. It all began with a single cork. Does that make sense as a sentence? Yes. So if it makes sense as a sentence without that information in there, It's called a modifying phrase, and you need commas around it. So in this case, it says, it all began, comma, as Pollack is likely to point out, comma. Those are the two commas that we see, so the answer has to be G. So that's testing you on comma rules for modifying phrases. That's very different from the next question, number 17, which says, to amass the staggering number of corks needed to construct the boat, 165,231 in all, Pollack convinced the staff of several restaurants in Washington, D.C. to donate discarded corks for his cause. Okay, so to amass the number of corks needed to construct the boat, 165,231 in all. Okay, what we have to determine here, guys, is what type of question is this? And then if we look at the answer choices, do any of them add new commas that maybe make the sentence wrong as well? So right now, to amass the staggering number of corks needed to construct a boat, 165,231 in all. That's another modifying phrase, just like the one we talked about before. Pollack convinced the staff, comma. Guys, we don't need that comma there because of several restaurants is a prepositional phrase. You don't need a comma before a prepositional phrase. So answer choice A is immediately eliminated despite the operative part being correct. It actually introduces an incorrect error with the comma down lower. And we have to make sure that we're very aware of that because it makes answer choice A incorrect. Okay, so A, let's move on. Construct the boat, parentheses, 165,000 in all. No, you wouldn't. You would have this whole thing together, guys. If you had parentheses, which sometimes works, you'd have that all together. So that's incorrect. You wouldn't just do parentheses around the 165,231. You'd put it around the in all as well. So we know B can be marked off. Okay, in all, needed to construct the boat, dash, 165,231 in all. Pollack convinced the staff of several restaurants in Washington, D.C. to donate. Okay, so that looks okay. Yeah, that one looks okay. Let's see if we have the last one. Boat, comma. No, so again, guys, look, right away with answer choice D, we can say that in all, we don't need that comma there. In is also a preposition, so we can eliminate answer choice D. You don't need a comma after the number and then in all, because in all is a prepositional phrase. So right there, guys, even though that took us 2.5, probably 3 minutes to do, we identified the answer as C. You can have dashes for modifying phrases as well. Dashes just typically authors use that to make the sentence stand out a little bit more. It serves the same purpose as if you had two commas around it, but in answer choice A, we introduced an incorrect comma lower in the sentence, and of course, everybody wants to choose answer choice A. Don't be the person that chooses that just because you didn't read all the way through the sentence. Okay, and then finally, so that's a modifying phrase using dashes versus a modifying phrase up here using our modifier using commas. Okay, and then finally, number 18 says Pollack eventually received cork donations from a cork importing company based in Portugal. So we have to figure out, does this make sense without the operative part? Because again, in the answer choices, you can see that from a cork importing company. With the word from is another preposition. They're trying to throw you off. You don't need commas around a prepositional phrase. Okay, so again, from is wrong, or comma from is wrong. And then you don't need a comma to end a prepositional phrase. So unlike where we needed commas or dashes in the first two questions, we don't need commas or dashes here because from a cork importing company based in Portugal, from a cork importing company, that's just a prepositional phrase and you don't need commas around that prepositional phrase. The point I'm trying to make here, guys, is if you go through every grammar question, and again, you would have to be an outlier. Most students don't want to do this. We just did 3 questions. I would be asking you to do this for 75 questions. Most students don't want to do that, and that's why they plateau. You just take test after test after test without actually thinking or reflecting about what it is that you're missing or what it is that you're struggling with on the previous test. And if you do this, if you take this test on time in the exact same way that we just did, I guarantee 100% of the time your score will go up. It's what we recommend to all students. If you're plateauing, we recommend that your score increases this way, because if you're taking an on-time test, you're actually thinking about the questions. And guess what? On the very next test, where they're testing the exact same concepts, you'll get that question right way faster than we just did here because you won't have to explain it to yourself. You'll just be thinking intuitively, this is what I need to remember for comma rules. This is what I need to remember for dash rules. And you'll just continue to move on from that. You'll just continue to identify errors within the sentence without having to think about it in the in-depth way that we did here because it's second nature because you took a test on time. So again, guys, I promise We recommend this for anybody that's commented on our videos. You guys can vouch for us here that this is the thing that we recommend almost every student do, is to take a full untimed test. That's not easy to do, and that would probably take 6 hours of your day. But if you do it, I guarantee your score will go up. And it doesn't have to be the full test. If you're just struggling on one section, take an untimed test, but go through it as methodically as I just did on this one, and I promise your score will go up. That's the secret to the ACT exam. Try it out. Let us know how you do. Comment below. We'd love to hear if this actually works. We think it will. It's worked for a number of our other students in the programs and those that have commented on the videos. If you guys have any questions for us, please let us know. Otherwise, guys, good luck with the strategy. Good luck improving your scores. Good luck on your next test. Keep working hard, and we'll see you soon. Great job, guys. See you soon.